Hello and welcome to the Raptors Reaction Podcast for Game 6 of the Raptors-Bucks series. I'm your host, William Liu. I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm completely fried. And here to talk me through what should be a celebratory event, but what felt like just getting kicked in the stomach over and over again is Zarar. Zarar, how you doing?
Hang on, Will. The blood is still returning to my fingertips and the lower half of my body because it was in my stomach at all times during that fourth quarter. And I think I'm almost back to normal. Why don't you give the listener a quick recap of the game while the blood, reaches the extremities of my my slender frame?
Well, the Raptors played an excellent game for the first three quarters. The Raptors got out at one point to a 71-46 lead. Everything was going great. They had a good start. We talked about how important those good starts are. Raptors took that first punch. Raptors offense was really good. They shared the ball. Their defense was incredible. And the Bucks had 46 points through the first 2.5 quarters. And then, all of a sudden, it was a 5-0 Bucks run. And it wasn't anything the Raptors did wrong. The Bucks just had a 5-0 run. And, the Raptors call a timeout. I thought it was smart by doing Casey to call a timeout, keep it down. You don't want to have everything come undone. But nope. The Raptors for the next... Basically, the Raptors had like 4 points for the first 10 minutes of the second of the fourth quarter. And while that was happening, the Bucks were making shot after shot. The Raptors looked like they forgot how to play basketball. I mean, basic basketball things like an inbound pass. Who is going to rebound the basketball? What is your defensive coverage? What are you going to do on offense? Crossing half court. These things which you would just take for granted.
Yeah.
This just absolutely disappeared, and the Raptors had one of the worst meltdowns in NBA playoff history. It was very reminiscent of that Game 6 between the Clippers and the Rockets in 2015. But
it reminded me of this time a few years back when I forgot how to sit down. It was very disconcerting.
What do you mean?
I just didn't know how to sit down. My brain just emptied out, and I was standing, and I was I need to sit down, and I couldn't because I didn't know that I had to the knees, how I had to bend them. I just forgot. I went a whole few hours without sitting down, and then it kicked in, and muscle memory kicked in, and all jokes aside, though, yeah, that was very stressful, and I was expecting to be celebrating and maybe waving my Raptor flag outside my house tonight, but well, number one, it's dark. And number two, it's,
just get a floodlight.
Yeah. And it just didn't. It felt so emotionally draining, especially that fourth quarter, because when we were up by 25, I think, in the third quarter, at that point you're this is. I wasn't celebrating by any means, but I thought we had a chance at that point to win this game. Up 25 in the third, you got a chance. And then slowly the Bucks whittled away, and at some point you're thinking, surely the Raptors will eventually stop this run. Surely we'll eventually go on a 4-0 run maybe. But no, it kept on going. It bloodied through the entire fourth quarter, where, as you said, we forgot how to pass. We forgot how to move the ball. The pressure we were handling in the first half, or almost the first 3 quarters of the game from the Bucks, by basically dumping it into a big in the middle of the paint and working from there, we forgot about doing that. A lot of turnovers, a lot of missed shots. Couldn't really inbound the ball properly without being hammered by pressure. Everything that could potentially go wrong went wrong. And this lead went from 25 to a 2-point deficit. When Jason Terry hit that 3, I had no hope. I had absolutely no hope at that point.
How are we getting killed by Jason Terry, man? Jason Terry killed the Raptors tonight. He had more composure, more heart, more everything in the fourth quarter than the Raptors. Jason Terry was making play after play, whether it was driving into the lane for a little hook shot or hitting a big 3 with Kyle Lowry closing right out on him. 2 big 3s in the fourth quarter. And then a clutch foul on DeMar DeRozan that somehow wasn't called a foul, and instead the possession went back to the Bucks. It just, can we be real for a second? The Raptors should have lost this game.
No. Let's not go nuts here.
Wait, hold on. The Bucks missed 7 free throws in 3 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but the Raptors went through a very anomalous stretch there in the fourth quarter, which you cannot consider normal. And I thought the refs, which I will get to in a bit, had a part to play here in this game being a little close. But I'll tell you, let's go back to Jason Terry because he's a symptom of a larger problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that problem is when are the Bucks at their best? It's when they force turnovers. Yep. And they are in semi-transition. It's no secret. We knew that before the series. It was confirmed in Game 1, and we saw that throughout the 6 games. All that happened in the fourth quarter is that our turnovers fuel their transition game. And when you get scores in transition, you automatically get confidence. And the confidence they were lacking in that throughout the first 3 quarters, they got back in the fourth. And the Raptors, as experienced as they are as a team, as much as they had more experience than the Bucks, they still don't necessarily know how to close out games. They still are very shaky towards in these exact situations. And I think you saw that today. And I think their experience, DeMar's experience particularly, pulled them through in the end. But they're still not a, we're going to shut the door on you because you're down kind of team. They still leave room open, and they're susceptible to turnovers. I think we saw that. I mean, the Raptors, they have this issue when they panic, they pick up the dribble too soon. And when they pick up the dribble too soon, they start to compensate for the picked up dribble by making more difficult point to wing passes. That pass from Kyle Lowry to DeMar DeRozan with Dellavedova almost intercepted is a perfect example of just panic setting in, both on Kyle Lowry's part, because he picked up the ball without knowing where to pass it to or what the angle of the pass should be. And then once he picked it up, he's committed now. DeMar's under pressure from Dellavedova, and now he's forcing a pass. That one play is indicative of the entire fourth quarter, making panic decisions and then paying for it. That's it. And that's why the Bucks came back from 25 down, because the Raptors panicked. And that panic is caused due to inexperience and maybe a little lack of self-belief. But I'm hoping between now and Monday we fix all that.
Okay, couple of things. One, how can you panic up 25? You've been playing so damn well. You won the last 2 games by 11 and then 25. You're up 25 in the third quarter. Just, have some confidence in yourself. Don't, the way the Raptors blew. I'm telling you, man, if the Bucks didn't miss so many guys, if Giannis didn't randomly turn into DeAndre Jordan for and maybe it was because he was fatigued. Giannis played 47 goddamn minutes. Like I predicted, I thought their adjustment was just going to be you're just going to play him 48 minutes. But if the Bucks didn't miss so many damn free throws, I'm talking Chris Middleton, Giannis. I guess those are the 2 guys that hit free throws in the fourth. But if those guys didn't hit those free throws, man, the Raptors would have been done. And the Raptors would have been done if it wasn't for clutch baskets from 3 players. All right, first, Patrick Patterson plays a 2-man game. The Bucks defense breaks down. He gets in for a dunk that Giannis somehow almost blocked. That's a good play. That cuts off the bleeding. And then all of a sudden, randomly, Corey Joseph hits a corner 3. It was an open 3 from Corey Joseph. But given all the hysteria that had gone on, the way the Raptors had capitulated, basically the way the Raptors pissed all over themselves in the second half, in the last 15 minutes of the game or so, I can't believe Corey Joseph made that 3. And then after that, DeMar DeRozan, with quite possibly one of the best plays, maybe the best play in franchise history, given how good that play was and how important that play was. DeMar DeRozan trapped in the corner, 7 seconds left. This is after Lowry screwed up that inbound pass, or the post-entry pass to DeRozan. Dellavedova got it out of bounds. DeRozan's trapped in the corner. You're like, oh, this is going to be a terrible possession. DeRozan drives past Maker and then dunks. A massive dunk, over $3, 2 hands.
Will, that's a lot of, you just said a lot of things in that little segment. So let's break it down step by step. All right?
Look, I'm emotionally a wreck right now, man. I'm just.
Well, okay. So why did the Raptors blow a 25-point lead, right? I mean, and why did they panic when they're up 25? I think is your question. And Will, you've been on dates. You've been on dates, right? And the night's going smoothly.
Yeah.
Everything's going great. Everything looks positive. The dinner is great. You go to the movie or whatever have you. You drive her home. She calls you up. You're at the door. And, things are happening. And deep down, you still don't know what the hell to do. That's panic. And when that panic sets in and freezes you, which is what happened to the Raptors, things can go really south. So it doesn't matter if you're up 25. The fact that you don't have too much experience being up 25 in this situation, or in your hypothetical case, in front of a door, blah, 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 with a girl, you will panic. It's inevitable. And that's what the Raptors did. It's part of what I call the learning experience of being up 25. Let's hope this happens more often, but I'm not surprised. I don't think any Raptor fan, to be honest with you, when we were up 25 in the third quarter, was shocked. I mean, they were hurt and they felt sick and they had Pepto-Bismol or whatever the hell you have when you have sick, but they weren't surprised. It was not a surprise. Okay, so that's the why were you up 25.
Okay, then, fair. Yeah, we don't play well with a lead. We're much better coming from behind. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the lead is. The lead could be 65. We're still going to be panicking. All right. Second, Patrick Patterson. That play on the right side, when he played a 1-2 with I don't know who, you could see that Patrick Patterson had not done that before ever in his life.
Yep.
Like his mental state broke down. His body was moving without his mind knowing. Mm-hmm. Like you could see that physically on the screen, on the TV. You could see that he was doing things that his mind did not agree with. Yet muscle memory, what have you, it just guided him towards the rim and he finished it. Thank God. Finally, DeRozan's dunk. You know, in Game 7, Vince versus Philly, 2001, whatever it was.
Yep.
Yeah. It was sort of in the same position, except Vince was a little in and a little higher up the court, but generally the same area of the court. And at that point, Vince obviously forced the shot. When he had a little more time, he pump faked Aaron McKee and released too early because he was unaware of the time that was on the clock, and he rushed his shot. DeMar DeRozan in this situation, it's a little less dramatic because it's not Game 7, but the game is essentially on the line, and you don't want to go to a Game 7 where anything can happen. He had the composure, man. More composure than Vince had in that possession to measure up who was guarding him. He noticed that Thon Maker, who had no business leaving the paint, and as soon as Thon Maker came out, there was no shot blocking in the middle. And DeRozan had the presence of mind to recognize that. Like he realized, he made that calculation in his head. Maker's not there. He's come out. It's an open rim. Maker's the help man. I can go around him and score, and he did. That presence of mind to make that decision is what I call maturity.
Those are all fair points, Zarar. Those are all very, very fair points. And you are right. These are points of maturity. These are points of growth. But at the same time, it's very painful to go through this growth, especially in live action. As the Raptors, like I said earlier, were just basically just wetting themselves. It was rough. And look, the Bucks made, as much as the Bucks made a fantastic comeback, there were legitimate moments where the Raptors could not do the most basic functional basketball things. And I mean, again, I know the Raptors don't play well with leads or whatever, but
let's talk about how they got to that lead, though. I think that's the exciting part of this game is that focusing on the fact that they were up 25.
Okay.
And first of all, you mentioned Dwayne Casey and his timeouts earlier.
Very
I thought for the majority of the game, for the first three quarters, for sure, even in the fourth, the team didn't respond to his timeouts in the fourth, but he managed the game really well from a timeout perspective.
Yep.
I don't think he ever let the Bucks get momentum, even when it was a 4-0 run, or he saw something he didn't particularly like on the floor, how even a possession developed and how they scored. He called a timeout, and every time it just kind of killed the crowd, gave the Bucks some pause, allowed the Raptors to regroup, essentially did what a timeout is supposed to do. So credit to Dwayne Casey for managing that. And the defense let's stick on the offensive part. The Raptors, what I've been calling for them to do for a few games now, and in this game I saw them do it consistently in the first half, is when under pressure, don't go back to the wing. Go to the guy in the middle. Have your big man flash at the top of the key and operate from there. Ibaka and JV in the first half were amazing at that.
Yep.
We punished the Bucks down low. Even when they dropped down low, we swung it out to the perimeter for shots. That strategy, that approach of handling pressure is the correct one. Now there's like enough evidence over 6 games to confirm that you don't. It's more risky to pass to the wing where you risk a turnover rather than lob it to the guy in the middle, because that throws the Bucks off, and they conceded a lot of points in the first half just based on that action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And finally, not finally. I mean, but there's a lot to talk about. But the defensively, I thought the Raptors were superb defensively. I mean, partially it's because they didn't turn the ball over as much, so Bucks didn't get run out. The pace of the game was dead in the first half. It was slow, it was methodical, it suited the Raptors, it forced the Bucks into half-court style of play, which they don't like, and you saw they were taking a lot of one-on-one shots. Even on TNT they were calling it out that the Bucks just are going one-on-one, and that's credit to the Raptors for slowing the pace of the game down, or slowing the game down. So a lot of things went well in the first three quarters that I think we should celebrate. It's just that, it's a recency bias here.
Yeah, no, the Raptors. I think, look, the Raptors have figured out the Bucks by Game 4, right? And I think obviously the lineup change helped a lot. The Raptors figured out that if you have 3 ball handlers on the court at once, that's going to help your offense. If you stay smaller and you don't play Ibaka and JV at the same time, that's going to help your defense. And we saw basically a continuation of games 4 and 5 in the first half at least. And not even just the first half, the first 2.5 quarters of this game. The Raptors did a beautiful job. DeRozan and Lowry were facilitating while Lowry was making plays on defense. DeMarre Carroll did his job. Ibaka was in early foul trouble, but then Valanciunas comes in and picks him up. Like you said, Dwayne Casey was calling good timeouts when Giannis came out and was basically, he had scored 9 points when the Raptors had scored 2 to begin the game. Dwayne Casey called a timeout 2 minutes into the game, and it really did settle the game down. Guys were defending well. Like you said, man, the Bucks, they're not a good offensive team. That's it. Like I know, like, we sort of panicked when we were down 2-1 and we got smacked by 27 in that game. But like, the Bucks are not a good offense. And if you look back on the series, the Bucks struggled to crack 90 points sometimes, including tonight. And the Raptors did a good job with that. They held the Bucks to 46 points through 2.5 quarters. And then, I mean, the capitulation, it's bad offense fueling to bad like offensive possessions fueling to bad defensive sequences. Basketball's a flow game. That's the Raptors' 4 bounces off, and then once they sort of gave up 10 points of that lead, they started just blowing the whole thing. And
Can I get to a quick reaction comment here, which is the top comment right now?
Yeah,
which goes, it's Van City B-Ball. He goes, quote, arguably the raptorious win in Raptors history. That's a good one.
It's a pretty Raptor win.
Yeah. And the second top comment right now is NBA officiating the worst in the league. And I don't talk about refs too much, but this was, like sometimes you wonder in life, if you're going to have money when you grow old, if when you lose your skills or when you lose your talents, will anybody hire you and will you be able to make a living? These thoughts cross your mind, Will, when you're a little older, trust me. You'll get there. And then I look at Tony Brothers. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes there's a chance, there's a 1%, maybe there's a small chance that you could have no skill whatsoever, be completely blind, senile, not know what the hell's going on, or maybe even know what the rules of the game are that you're officiating, and still be considered one of the top officials in the league. Some of his calls today were just mind-boggling. I only picked 2 to post on Twitter because there's only so much memory processing speed my computer has. Two of the ones that I want to call out is that foul, which they called a foul on
Ibaka?
Kyle. Is it the drive from Giannis where they?
Clear on PJ Tucker. That was his 5th foul of the game.
Yeah, clear drop of the shoulder, no angle whatsoever, or even in live action would that ever be a defensive foul.
Giannis is out of control,
and he dips his shoulder, and he runs.
Tucker has perfect position.
And it's a defensive foul. And I'm like, what? What? This inexcusable. The other one is DeRozan towards the end of the game when Terry hacked him going to the rim. There's an official on the baseline that has clear sight of that play. And when they paused and they were reviewing something, I was like, what are you reviewing? He clearly hacked his left wrist as he was going up.
But that's not reviewable, Zerar.
I know it's not reviewable. I was shocked that they were reviewing anything. I thought it was a clear-cut foul and go to the line. That was all it was. That's just two of the ones that I had a chance to cut the video off, which I can provide evidence for. But there were like 3 or 4 in the fourth quarter, which you were and some of the non-calls that went against the Raptors on DeRozan drives were equally egregious.
Yeah, well, look, this should be a happy celebration. All right, this is a happy event. The Raptors
it's happy.
Won a series for once, not taking it to 7 games. We got the weekend off, Gerard. This is great.
I think there's a couple more things I want to talk about from this game. This is like minor. Let's talk about Cleveland next.
Okay, we'll have plenty of time to talk Cleveland.
Okay,
we might do it on a different podcast.
All right, fine, different podcast. This is a post-game podcast.
Yeah.
The Bucks crowd chanting USA, USA.
What more did you expect from America's Dairyland, the place that has Scott Walker as its governor, the place that made special Donald Trump hats and Donald Trump Bucks-themed jerseys before the series?
Yeah.
This is the NBA we're talking about. This isn't like I don't know, man. The Brewers got to the World Series and was trying to woo Donald Trump to come down to, lovely Wisconsin. Like, no, this is NBA basketball, and they thought this was a good idea. And so, yeah, in that sense, it's not surprising whatsoever that they would chant USA as their team was losing. It's just more examples of Middle America falling into shit. I'm happy they lost. They deserve this loss. I said the Raptors had a moral imperative to defeat the Bucks, to defeat Spencer Hawes, and I'm, good on them. I'm very happy the Bucks took this L because I hate the Bucks, man. I hate all these guys. I'm probably gonna get fired tomorrow because of how many obscene tweets I've tweeted out. But one of them I'm gonna stick by, which I just said, fuck everybody on the Bucks.
Yeah, and it rhymes too. And the other related thing is, they love to blast Born in the USA for some reason, which is essentially a song about Vietnam vets coming home and being treated like shit by the government, and also the harmful effects of the Vietnam War and all that. And that's not esoteric knowledge or hidden knowledge. That's just your Wikipedia page. Right? So maybe not play that song as a celebratory mechanism for your country or whatnot. But anyways, let's move on. I don't know. You're the host. You go on, man. Where do you want to take this train? To Cleveland, or do you want to stay in Milwaukee? You want to come back to Toronto? What else do you want to talk about?
Okay, I want to talk about 2 more things in this game. One, the Raptors finally, after struggling with this all series, shut down Tony Snell and shut down Greg Monroe. That really helped the Raptors defensively. Tony Snell just didn't get a lot of open looks. 1 of 4, he would only shoot an open look, only 2 points. And then Monroe, the Raptors finally figured it out that, look, you can just attack Monroe on defense. He will get himself into foul trouble, especially if you play middle pick and roll, especially if you're willing to trust your bigs in that scenario. Jonas did a really good job against Monroe. And the shutting down those guys. I mean, Giannis still got his 34 points. Chris Middleton still hit 19, which is pretty much what you would expect from him in 42 minutes. But the fact that the Raptors were able to shut down Monroe, shut down Tony Snell, that helped the Raptors defensively a ton. So that was good on the Raptors. And then number 2, can we just acknowledge for a second that DeMar DeRozan had 32 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals, 12 of 14 shooting, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Yes, DeRozan took some bad shots down the stretch, but DeRozan has taken so much shit, especially from basketball Twitter, because he doesn't play the quote-unquote analytical style. And I get that, man. It's not like the analytical, we just have to throw all that shit out the window. No, most of that is correct. But it's basketball Twitter's sick dogma that refuses to allow any other type of basketball to succeed other than the one they have envisioned in their minds, right? And yes, one way is probably better than the other. But if someone does something really well, we should be celebrating this. And we should celebrate the fact that he's bucking convention. And DeRozan is bucking convention in terms of the way he plays basketball. And he's been successful. He had one bad game in Game 3, and it was quite possibly the worst game played by any All-Star in any playoff game ever. All right, he had 8 points on all free throws. It was a garbage game. Every other game, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, DeRozan has been awesome. And I would very much like to wake up tomorrow and see these same basketball Twitter people give credit to DeRozan at the same rate in which they were shoveling dirt on his grave after Game 3. But I know this won't happen. and it upsets me very much. I don't really care what these people say, but if you're going to slander a guy like that, you got to give him some credit. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, Will. Sorry, I stopped listening when you said something called basketball Twitter, whatever the hell that is.
Come on, Zarar.
Yeah. So I don't partake in those activities, Will. But yeah, what's to be said about DeMar?
You're better than me for that, honestly. Basketball Twitter's garbage.
I even don't think he took too many bad shots. I recall him taking 2 jumpers in the fourth, which I would consider were clean looks for him. I don't think he had a defender on his face or anything like that. He's 12 for 24. A lot of his shots in this series, his poor shooting percentage sometimes, is due to the fact that he is the guy the Raptors look for more than Lowry in this series at the tail end of the shot clock when nothing is developing, and he's forced to create something. Adding on to his percentages is that he also seems to be getting the ball at the end of quarters now when there's like 1 second left and he has to heave it up. Today, I know he resisted the urge to throw up a three-pointer just because there was no way for him to make it. He was on his own half and all that. But I disagree that he took bad shots today. I thought he was composed as usual, and he overall had an extremely good game. And the way he defended Middleton on the switches sometimes, or even Dellavedova on the traps, was very effective. I think he even got a couple of deflections in this game. Which,
5 steals.
Yeah, 5 steals. Yeah, there you go, 5 steals. Just a phenomenal game. Just absolutely phenomenal game. And credit to him he could have very easily, when Thonmaker was there, come out, take 2 steps and go for a pull-up. But no, he drove it all the way home. And when he jammed that home, did you notice the sense of like relief in his it was just like, yeah. He just, like, if you had given him an axe at that point, he would have taken that axe and just decapitated Thonmaker right there. I mean, that's what he would have done with that axe. And even when the game ended,
he metaphorically did that.
Yes, he did. Yeah, Thonmaker's funeral services on Monday. When the game ended and Patrick Patterson got that steal, he passed it to DeRozan. Did you notice, and I posted this on Twitter as well with the video, he wanted to just take that ball and like smash it on the ground. Yep. Because he was so frustrated and a little pumped about it. But then he showed composure and just kind of threw it in the air time to run out. But what he really wanted to do is just like light fire to that ball and just make it explode right there and just walk off into the sunset as the Bradley Center or whatever the hell's it called is burning down in the background like a Michael Bay movie, and DeRozan walks out with the flames somehow fully intact, even though he's wearing no protective clothing whatsoever. That's how I imagine DeMar DeRozan at the end of that game. That's it. Enough of the Bucks. Stadium explodes, fireworks and shit, and DeMar's walking out like a fucking ninja.
I hate the Bucks, man.
Yeah.
I hate everybody on the Bucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get with those 3 stars.
3 stars. Oh, okay.
1, DeRozan.
Yeah, for sure.
Walking through fire himself, Mr. Shaka Khan. Number 2.
That's a tough one, eh? It's a severe drop-off for number 2. I mean, you can go by points and go to Kyle Lowry.
But, I mean, like, this was a substandard Lowry game. I thought he had some decent sequences defensively, but I couldn't help the fact that in the fourth quarter, he didn't do anything.
Hey, did you also notice that post-game, TNT gets dibs on who they want to interview over Sportsnet or whatever? Because clearly, you wanted to interview DeMar DeRozan at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And you could see when Eric Smith was interviewing Kyle Lowry,
he had no
in the background. He had no question, and in the background, you see the TNT lady interviewing DeMar DeRozan, and I was like, there's a pecking order out there. They respect that. But yeah, Eric Smith and his interview question to Kyle Lowry, which is also on Twitter and also on our YouTube channel, or it's not on YouTube, it's only on Twitter. He goes, he had nothing to ask him, right? So he goes, "How did you do?" Blah blah blah. Then he goes, and I looked this up yourself on our Twitter page @Raptors Republic. Scroll down. And he goes, "Kyle, I was sitting next to 2 Raptor fans, and in that fourth quarter, they hovered over to me, and they murmured softly in my ear, 'This is why athletes get paid millions of dollars.'"
Oh, yeah, look, the Raptors broadcast crew, I'm going to give them a pass. I'm going to give them a pass, not because I'm trying to protect any industry things, no, nothing like that. It was just a very stressful game, man. I don't know what I would have said. You know what I mean? Like, Matt Devlin at one point said, when Ibaka hit a 3, big shot by Ibaka. They needed this. And they went up 21 in the third quarter. And Devlin was right, goddammit. The Raptors did need those 3 points. Raptors needed every one of those goddamn points when they built that lead. So
Can we also talk about DeLon Wright a little bit? He had a crazy finish in this game.
Yes.
He's had 2 of them in this series where he's gone under the rim, reversed it with English off the glass.
Wait, hold on. DeLon Wright?
Yeah, DeLon Wright.
Are you talking about the play where he did the rondo faked the big man in the air, pivoted, and then got the layup? And then he got the putback, right? What else? When did he do his reverse layup? Are you talking about DeRozan? DeRozan had a reverse layup.
Sorry, I'm confusing the two. You're right. Yes, old age is kicking in here. Okay. Yeah, it was DeRozan with a spin, but he did have that sweet move where he faked the hell out of whoever. That was on ESPN SportsCenter. ESPN, by the way, cutting 100 on-air personalities, which is probably too little. They need to cut more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pour one out for Ethan Sherwood-Strauss. I do like that guy's work.
Yeah, liked.
He's not dead. He'll come back somewhere very soon. Okay, so
second star.
God damn, this is hard.
This is a very hard second.
You know
star.
what? You know who we're gonna do the second star to?
Okay, I got a guy. Let's see who you go.
PJ Tucker.
Okay.
Look, I'm just judging this on the fourth quarter, which it still feels so raw in my mind. PJ Tucker made 2 or 3 plays in the fourth quarter. One, got an offensive rebound off a Lowry missed layup, then found Lowry for a layup. And then 2, a couple of defensive sequences. He was pretty strong against Giannis. And then one time he got called for an illegitimate foul, whatever, and then he came out of the game and Patterson closed it out. But I don't know, man. PJ Tucker.
All right, I'll let you have, but you got to give me the third star.
Who were you going to pick, man?
Well, I'm going to pick him as the third star now. And listener might think, wow, he didn't do much, but I'd say he did a lot. Corey Joseph for that 3 from the corner. Because he had the Bucks bench right behind him, and they were yelling in his ear. He's not the greatest three-point shooter. He showed he was wide open, but sometimes those wide open shots are the hardest one to make. And clutch, without that, I feel we lose this game.
Oh, guaranteed we lose this game without that 3.
So with that, Corey Joseph gets the honorary third star. By the way, in hockey, don't they do 3 stars? Is third star the best one or the worst one? Or
the worst one.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so we're consistent here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the Bucks, it's pretty obvious who the Gerald Henderson Award is. It's Jason Terry. Really, man? Jason Terry made some plays in the fourth quarter, man.
Okay,
Jason, who were you going to pick then if it wasn't Jason Terry? Because they didn't really get a lot of good performances. Like Dellavedova?
Yeah, I thought he was annoying enough against DeMar defensively sometimes in this game, especially in the fourth. And, his teardrop that he hit annoyed the hell out of me. But yeah, I think Terry's a good call. The 39-year-old Jason Terry should, this is the highlight of his season here. This Gerald Henderson Award on the Raptors post-game podcast on RaptorsRepublic.com.
This assistant coach took off his suit, played basketball in an NBA game at the age of 85, and was dropping legitimate daggers on the Raptors. 2 threes, one to put the Bucks ahead after all their efforts. Jason Terry puts them ahead. And then a 3 when the Raptors were desperately trying to choke away the game for a second time. And then plus that swipe on DeMar. I mean, the way Jason Terry was pumping up that crowd, too, it was, man, yeah. Never seen a Trump rally respond like that to a black guy. Could have sworn I heard them. I could have sworn I heard them say, "Drain the swamp, lock her up." Spencer Haas was just in the crowd.
Is he a Trump supporter, Spencer Haas? Is that what it is? Is that what you're mentioning?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Probably the only one in the league. It's a very, it's a very liberal league, I would say. Liberal leaning.
I got to think about this one.
Who else would be?
I got to think about it. This one. I haven't asked myself this question before, so I will require some thought.
Well, I mean, Michael Jordan, but
no way.
Republicans buy shoes too.
Yeah.
No. Michael's cool. All right.
I think we've covered this one up, man. Overall, can I get a series MVP for you?
DeMar.
What's your second guy in the series MVP? The second star series MVP.
Ibaka was good tonight too. He could have got one of the stars.
All right, give me a third one. I'm waiting to hear the name here.
Norman Powell.
I'd say so, yeah, man. I think he was the turning point of the series. Game 4, he was introduced, and this entire series just shifted. Its whole landscape shifted. Suddenly we were more agile. We could score better. We could slash better. Yep. We could defend better. There was more energy on the floor. I think his contributions over game 4-6 have been just massive. And I said it a couple podcasts ago. If we had lost the series, I think Dwayne Casey's not playing him for the first 3 games would have been enough to get him fired. As it stands, we move on to the second round, and it's all good. By the way, isn't it great to just not just win playoff rounds? Like, as a Raptor fan who's used to getting exited in the first round so consistently, this is like what? We won 3 out of 4 playoff series now, which is fantastic, and it feels so great. It almost feels.
I don't know if I feel so good right now. I think when I wake up tomorrow, I'll feel a lot better. But in the moment of the near collapse, I still feel a bit raw.
Hey, the Raptors 905 won the D-League championship today.
That's true.
I think we need to give them a shout out. Will, since you have, I believe, watched 1 minute of one game 2 months ago, why don't you tell us what happened?
Well, what happened was Bruno. From what I understand, obviously I was watching this game. The two were happening at the same time. But Bruno was...
Which, by the way, is just absolutely disastrous planning by whoever's planning these things.
Seriously, man. Now Boccia is so conflicted at this point, man. He's sitting at the 905 game, but he's got the TSN Go app.
Where was Blake?
Blake actually had cloned himself. Yes, this is a secret I'm revealing in live on air. But this is how Blake does so much work. He actually did physically clone himself. And he was at both these games. So shout out to Blake and Blake's clone, Drake.
Yeah, this podcast is very disjointed. It's almost like the Raptors' fourth quarter. I think we need to wrap this up. Oh, but the 905. Let's finish.
905. Yeah. So Bruno killed it, man. Bruno killed it. He dropped a career high 31 points. Fred VanVleet had 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 14 assists. And the Raptors 905 under Jerry Stackhouse, everybody's favorite coach. Everybody's favorite coach. Whenever Dwayne Casey does anything wrong, people just go to Jerry Stackhouse. All right, it's oh man, it's like the Raptors are married with Dwayne Casey, but it's a terrible marriage. And then just once in a while, you're just like, you know who lives next door? You know who lives next door, and they're single, and every time I walk out, we say hi and chat. It's Jerry Stackhouse, and Jerry Stackhouse leads the 905 to a victory. It was. Mississauga.
He's turned into. Remember, the Raptor fans have always had these coaches, which they are so quick to switch to.
Oh yeah.
It's like Ettore Messina used to be in the 2000s. It was Jeff Van Gundy, Tom Thibodeau. These are like prime coaches who we will just cheat on our existing coach with.
Oh
just
all the time.
Anytime.
Isn't this how we end up with Jay Triano?
No, I don't think Jay Triano was the people's choice at any point. I don't think any sane-minded, maybe the TSN or whatever, but I don't think any Raptor fan out there was like, oh, we need Jay Triano, he's gonna put us over the edge. No, I don't think so. That is revisionist history, Will. Let's not spread that here.
Yeah, no.
We're a reputable organization here.
I look forward. Well, I don't know, man. I look forward to the Raptors 905 parade in Mississauga. It's gonna go down here, Ontario. Probably swing through Square One. Guaranteed. I mean, as a reward, we probably have to give some of these 905ers who won't make the NBA. At the minimum, we have to give them one of the condos in the Marilyn Monroe Towers. We got to give them a room at least. John Jordan, shout out to him. Axel Tupon and Eddie Tavares, you guys get honorary rings. Do they make 905 rings? Are they like ring pop? I'm not really sure. And also, I just look forward to Bruno at the championship parade screaming, Saga, this is for you.
At the very least, they'll get some Palladium gift cards.
You have to, man. At least give them 50 free credits. It's the Palladium.
Shout out to Palladium. I used to work there for 2 years, a long time ago. Now let's wrap this up, man. I gotta go.
All right. Well, shout out to our sponsor,
wrapped it up.
Goldfinger Personal Injury Law. I'm sure Brian Goldfinger was chewing through his Goldfingers as the fourth quarter lead was getting blown, but. Well, we got it done, man.
You think Brian wears like actual gold fingers? Because that'd be kind of cool if he actually walked around with like gold-plated like rings on fingers, and that would be. I would do that as a marketing thing. I would totally, like, a client comes in and like they're expecting like this professional lawyer, and like Brian's there in his suit and all that, but suddenly you sit down and he pops out his hand and it's like 5 massive gold rings. You think that would play out?
You're just saying that Brian Goldfinger is the Pat Riley of lawyers. You heard that story about Pat Riley, right? Every single time he gets a free agent. Every single time he meets with a free agent, and he meets with all the free agents because every free agent wants to go to Miami, or at least has some interest in Miami and everything that Miami offers. Pat Riley sits him down in his cavernous office, and then he's like turns around in his chair, and he dumps a sack of rings on the table. And that's his pitch. That's his pitch. He has like 9 rings. He's the only guy who's won a ring as a player, as an assistant coach, as a head coach, and also as an executive. Yeah.
So that's what he's got over Phil Jackson. Anyways, we got to wrap this up.
Right,
We're like 40 minutes.
Zarar,
this is it. All right.
Thank you for listening to this. Raptors, thank you for, whatever. You won the game 6, whatever, but, thank you for giving us the weekend to chill. We will come back to you with more preview content for the Cavs series. And Zarar, man, I hope to have you on more of these reaction podcasts, man. You've been consistent. You've been on all 6.
Hey, man, I got to give priority to things, and I know I'm doing my schooling at getting the MBA or whatever, but let's be serious, man. This trumps that bullshit.
Oh, guaranteed. All right.
So, okay.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll be back with a Cleveland preview sometime soon.